Okay, so we will start from the refuge. Sangye, Jedang, Zogye, Janam, Lang, Janjo, Bardo, Dani, Gebzoje, Nage, Jeje, Yewe, Zanam, Ye, Jola, Bej, Zangye, Jobara, Jojo, Islam, Jedang, Zogye, Janam, Lang, Janjo, Bardo, Dani, Gebzoje, Nage, Jeje, Yewe, Zanam, Jola Benje Sangye Jobara Sho Sangye Chedan Zangye Jana Blanc Chanju Bardo Dane Gyasoj Daye Chuje Gibe Senam Gye Jola Benje Sangye Jobara Sho Mandala Sa Shebe Okay. Hello, everyone. Yeah, good to see you. Okay, who's here? Okay. Yeah. Yep. Hello.
Yes. Good morning, Rinpoche.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will be continuing with the 6 perfections. So we covered 2 of them, the generosity part and the discipline part. Then now today we are going to cover patience. So the book words of, so we are going through the Words of My Perfect Master, the book by Petru Rinpoche. If you have that English version, it's on page number 240 on the second paragraph. Anyway, so patience is divided, or patience is understood. Patience, according to the Mahayana teachings, is understood in 3 aspects. So the first one is called patience when being wronged. The second one is called the patience to bear hardships, difficulties for the Dharma. And then the third one is known as the patience to face the profound truth without fear. So the first type of patience, which is the patience when wronged, this is the what we usually refer to as ordinary patience, ordinary patience. Basically, because that is the type of, it is not ordinary because it's easy, but it's ordinary because this is the type of patience or impatience that we have to face every day in our life. So whenever we say, be patient, don't get angry, don't get triggered, this and that, we're referring to this type of patience. So that is the patience to whenever you have been accused of something, whenever you have been attacked, whenever you have been robbed or defeated. So basically, when there's nothing wrong with you, and someone else puts the blame on you, and even though there is nothing wrong with you, not even a single an atom of wrongfulness is within you, but someone throws attack and criticism at you, you learn or you try to be patient and face the attack, face the criticism in a more positive way. So that is, of course, something that we have to face on a daily basis, every day. And so that would be, even though it's called the ordinary patience, it is the one that is most difficult for us in the stage that we are in right now. Yeah. So there are many things like that in the sutras. They call it the common discipline or the common patience, common this and common that, or ordinary this and ordinary that. But when it actually comes into application, they're not that ordinary. They are not that common. They're not that easy. So what it refers to is it's something. It doesn't mean that it is something that easy or convenient for us to practice. What it means is that it is the opposite of the practice, the opposite side of the practice. The side of so let's say patience is what we have to practice, and the opposite of patience is impatient. The impatient aspect is something that is very common, that is very easy, that is very convenient for us to come. So by referencing on its opposite, the patience, by referencing on the negative side, its antidote, the opposite side, was called the common or ordinary or convenient, like that. So you will see many things like that in the sutras where the rituals practices were called easy or convenient, but actually it's not easy. Okay, so what it actually means is the opposite, the negative side is easy for us to come by. So for that reason, the positive aspect is referred to as the easy practice, but it's actually not easy. So Pedro Rinpoche goes on to say, that if you even if you have been wronged, even if you have been criticized and attacked, you should still give in to impatience, give in to anger, and etc. etc. If you lose patience and give way to anger, a single fit of rage, single moment of anger can actually destroy the effects, the good effect of the positive actions that you have accumulated over 1,000 kalpas or 1,000 eons. So 1,000, each eon would be about 1,000 billion years, so to speak. So 1,000 kalpa would be tens of thousands of trillions of years. Anyway, so one single moment of anger can destroy the effects of good karma that has been accumulated over 10,000, tens of thousands of eons, tens of thousands of eons. So that is what Pedro Rinpoche says, and he quotes Master Shantideva in the book The Way of the Bodhisattva. So the line goes like this: good works gathered in 1,000 ages, such as deeds of generosity, the first of the six perfections, generosity, such as deeds of generosity, or offerings to those gone to bliss. Gone to bliss means Buddha. A single flash of anger shatters them. So basically 1,000 years of positive karma you have accumulated through generosity and through making offerings to the Buddhas, it will go into the it will be ruined. It will go into the gutters just by having one single moment of anger. And again, in the same book, Bodhisattva, Way of the Bodhisattva, he says there is no evil. No evil is there similar to the hatred. So no other evil can be equal to hatred, nor austerity to be compared with patience. No virtues are comparable with the virtue. No virtues are comparable with patience, and no evil is comparable with hatred. So basically, hatred is the utmost of all the evils, the ultimate of all the evils, and the patience is ultimate of all the virtues. Steep yourself, therefore, in patience in all ways, urgently with zeal. So that is what Shantideva said in the same book. So if you listen to His Holiness the Dalai Lama's teaching, he often says that the bodhicitta is the most important practice. He always say that if you are happy, practice bodhicitta. If you're unhappy, practice bodhicitta. If you're doing well, practice bodhicitta. If you are not doing well, still do the bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is the best practice in order to accumulate great merit. Bodhicitta is the best in order to eliminate, in order to purify negative karmic deeds. Bodhicitta is the best practice. He always said that. He always said bodhicitta, bodhicitta, bodhicitta. And yesterday he was, for the last 2 days, he was giving teachings on the Guru Yoga. Then he also mentioned many times that bodhicitta is the main practice. So if you don't think deeply enough, in most of the Dharma texts, especially in the tantric, we have so many purification, like 100 syllable mantras, and do the prostrations, do the mandala, do the kora, so many different ways of purifying our negative karma. And you would think like, how come just thinking of bodhicitta, how come just contemplating on bodhicitta will purify all my negativity? Just by thinking of bodhicitta, how can I accumulate so much great merit? But then if you come back to the line we just read by Shantideva, he said that there is no evil worse than hatred. There is no virtue better than patience. So if you come back to that line, then you will know that when you practice bodhicitta, you are practicing patience. Because bodhicitta, in order to practice bodhicitta, you have to be extremely patient. And by practicing, and then there is no way, when you are practicing bodhicitta, when you are generating bodhicitta, then that moment, right, at least for that very moment, there is no room for anger or hatred or judgment or anything like that. So in that respect, bodhicitta practice is the most important practice, the utmost practice that we can all do, especially those of us who call ourselves Mahayana practitioners. Then so again, the Indian great Pandita Padma Sangye, who came to Tibet and taught in Tibet, he says that to hate your enemies is a delusion caused by your karma. Okay, transform your vicious thoughts of hatred, people of Tingri. So he was giving teaching to the people of Tingri, so that's what he was referring to. So coming back to the first line, to hate your enemies is a delusion caused by karma. So you know that karma means action, right? And action. So we know that action has a reaction. So if you do good thing will come. Bad thing will come. Then also another thing is that if you keep doing something, keep doing it, it becomes a habit as well. So we do that. We try to do that with good things, right? Whether it's a diet, whether it's with workout, whether it's with our work ethics, this and that, our study practice. We try to cultivate good habit. Good habit is actually basically a chain of actions put together, right? It's a chain of actions. That's what we call a habit. So what happens is, how is the hating your enemy is a delusion caused by karma? How is that? It's because karma has its karma, which is action, has its own repercussions. At the same time, what karma being an action, what you keep doing it repeatedly, if you keep doing it again over and over again, it becomes habit. So if you don't control your patience, and if you give into your impatience, if you let yourself get carried away, become angry, become impatient, this and that, over and over again, then you become very good in getting angry. So you become a professional angerer. And so therefore, so in the end, karma, the impatience or hating your enemy, hatred is the delusion caused by the karma, or is a delusion caused by your own unmindful actions, your uncontrolled, your your actions and actions where you are not able to put in awareness. So basically, when you keep doing something over and over again, you become so good at doing that. So hating your enemy, you let yourself hate your enemy all the time, and then you become a professional hater. So therefore, hatred is a delusion caused by your own karma. So it's not like there is a force or a person called karma out there, just like the sun, who is doing all this thing. It's actually your own karma. It's your own action that is making you suffer, that's making you enjoy like that. Oh yeah. So Pedro Rinpoche says that whenever someone hurts you, whenever someone insults you or accuses you unjustly, and the effects of the, so basically when you are faced with so many unjust things, that is actually your negative karma. You are facing your negative karmas. So as long as you do not lose your temper with a person, or and then, or at least do not hold grudge against that person, the negative effects of the karmic effects of that negative deed which you have accumulated in the past, so which you are suffering right now, will exhaust by itself. So usually we have to do a lot of purification, this and that. But if someone angers you and you don't anger back, you don't hold grudge against that person, your negativity will self-destruct. So you do not have to do additional purification for that particular negative karma. Of course, you have many other negative karma, so you still have to do purification in general. But for that particular, yeah, so like that. So your negative karma will self-destruct if you do not hold grudge and do not get angry, don't get like that. By developing patience, by developing patience in such a situation, we can accumulate a great amount of merit. Yeah. Pedro Rinpoche also reminds us that if there is no one whom to get angry with, if no one triggers you, then with whom you will practice patience. So in order to practice patience, you will need those negative friends or negative people. And so therefore, consider all those people who wrong you, who criticize you, who do bad things to you as your teachers. So it will be difficult to not to get angry with your enemies, okay? For lack of a better word. So usually there's the friend, enemy, and the stranger, the three individuals that we encounter on a daily basis, right? Friend, foes, and strangers. So the enemies, the foes, it's difficult not to hate them. It's difficult not to get triggered. It's difficult to not to get so and so. So when this happens, how would you generate kindness and compassion and love for your enemy? Right? Very difficult. So this is a very innovative idea, innovative practice. This Pedro Rinpoche says that in order to transform your enemies into your friends, think of your enemies as your teachers, your teacher for patience. So think of that like your teacher is your enemies, the person whom is humiliating you, who is doing this and negative this and that to you, is actually teaching you how to be patient. So this is a training, of course, right? So he's not saying that those person who do bad things are good people. Those people who are unjustly criticize you are actually good people, that they're Buddha like that. But if you apply such thoughts within your practice, if you think, it doesn't mean they are real Buddhas. But if you think of them as Buddhas, if you think of them as teachers, if you think of them as Buddhas manifesting wrathful aspects. So in order to subdue your negative and arrogance and atrocious mindset, then this will actually help you to curb down your impatience. Yeah. So Peter Rinpoche also says that nowadays we often hear of someone who is a very good Lama Guru, very good monk, but also has a very bad temper, very bad temper. And he reminds us that there is no worse fault in the world than anger. So how could someone be so good in his practices and at the same time have such a terrible temper? Padma Sangye, the Indian Pandit who came to Tibet, he said that you don't understand that one moment's action arising from anger is worse than 100 actions arising from attachment, desire. So attachment, anger, and ignorance, the three poisons. So yeah, the one action from anger is worse than 100 times worse than the 100 actions from desire, coming from desire. So if you have again the Vidura, which says, if you have really assimilated the teachings properly, if you have gone through the practice properly, everything you do, say, and think should be as soft as stepping on a cotton wool, or as mild as a bread on butter. But if you do not follow the teachings, if you do not practice the teachings that you understand properly, then it will be on the contrary, it will be on the opposite side. And the slightest virtuous practice you do, or vow you keep, okay, I'm doing a refuge, I'm doing meditation, I'm listening to the what do you call it? The words of my perfect master, right? Or any virtual thing you do, any positive action you do, makes you feel very, first you feel pleased, you feel happy about that, and then you feel proud about it. So you become egotistical. So the very practice which you are trying to undermine, which you are trying to reduce your anger and the negative emotions, actually becomes the cause for you to become more angry, because you become more egotistical. You're proud. So you are proud, and when someone says you are wrong, you become angry. And when someone says your logic is insensible, that your logic doesn't make sense, that the lineage that you come from is impure, this and that, you become triggered and you become angry, so on and so forth. So he says that every time anyone says a single word to you, single extreme word to you, and you become extremely sensitive, to be extremely sensitive, to be happy so quickly when someone says good, to be unhappy so quickly when someone says bad, and then easy to get angry, easy to get hyper excited, this and that. And that means that much of touchiness, that much of sensitivity actually means that the so-called high-class Dharma practices that you have done and your way of life has gone a separate way. Then there is one line from Geshe Chengawa. So Geshe Chengawa is a Kadamba master. So Kadamba means those who follow the those who are direct disciples, or maybe the second direct disciples of Atisha, Master Atisha. So they are called the Kadamba masters. So Geshe Chengawa is one of the Kadamba masters. So he says something here, which actually is very much relevant to. He's talking about anger, but actually it's related to our other daily practices as well. And many people ask when they practice for 5 years, 10 years, like many years, and they keep asking like, how has my practice? Is my practice good or not? Have I reached a certain level of this and that? People keep asking, right? To when they meet their guru teacher like that, people ask me too. So actually, if you remember this line, then you will know how to check on your own progress, your practices. Okay. So there is a line which we will read here. Kisha Jiangawa here says that. So that's on the second last paragraph of page number 241 in English. So he says that if, as we study, reflect, and meditate, our egos grow bigger and bigger. Our patience become more fragile than a baby's skin, and we feel even more irritable than the demon Sangten, so it's name of a local demon. These are sure signs that our study, our meditation, and our reflection of the teaching have taken into the wrong direction. So in conclusion, Pedro Rinpoche says, always be humble, dress modestly, and treat everyone, whether good or bad or mediocre, with respect. And tame your mind with the Dharma, taking the love and compassion of bodhicitta as your basis. Without any doubt, this is the most essential point of all the practices. It is better than 1,000 other so-called most sublime views or most profound meditation, this and that tantric initiation, this and that, whatever, right? Because of course, initiation, empowerment, this and the sublime view, they are very great. But in order to understand, in order to assimilate, in order to um, in order to put these practices into application, you have to reach that level. So right now, the best practice for you is to do as be humble, be modest, treat everyone with respect, and tame your mind and go into the path of follow the path of the Dharma. Yeah. In order to give you a more contemporary context, there is one poem by the 18th, 19th century, almost 20th century, I think, a writer, author, a British writer. His name is Rudyard Kipling. So he wrote many novels, great novels. So there's a poem by him called "If." If maybe you have heard of that. So if you read that, maybe I will share the poem. The name of the poem is if, just if. And so if you read that book, if you read that pamphlet, that small poem, then it actually says exactly as what our teachers were saying, but in a more how to say, because he's using more common words, so it's easier for us to understand and put in the application. Yeah, I shared the link in to the one translation in Vietnamese. But if you just type if,
Yeah.
if you, in English it's easy to find. Anyway, so this much is about the patience. So there are three types of patience. The first of which is the patience to keep when you have been wronged. So we dealt with this today, and next week we will we will talk on the patience to bear hardships for the Dharma. And then followed by the patience to face the profound truth, etc. So we will conclude here and then open up for Q&As. Yeah. So I just received. Okay, so there's a question from CD. Can someone translate it for me, please?
Yeah, let's see.
What's the question mainly about?
Yeah, just
Yeah, from CD. Yeah.
CD, when we face one situation which make us very angry, but immediately we recognize that this wrong thing, and we try to tame and to change our behavior, whether we consider that is a good practice or not. It means that when we face with a situation which makes me angry, but we immediately recognize that we are getting angry, and we try to control and change our behavior. So whether or not it is considered a good practice or not lah. Yeah.
So when you get
Yeah.
angry,
Yeah.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. We can
Hello?
hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, so the first, most important thing is you have to practice patience in like before you get angry, right? Because when you actually get, it's like learning martial arts. So if you don't learn martial arts, and then the moment you are robbed, you cannot do anything. But if you have learned martial arts in earlier, then if someone tries to rob you, then you can actually defend yourself, right? So you need to have a certain, yeah. So what you have to do is what helps is thinking about the negative aspect, negative side of the anger. So we all learned that having one moment of negative anger, one moment of anger will actually eliminate hundreds of eons of our negative karma.
Yeah.
So therefore, we see how difficult it is to accumulate good karma, merit, right? And then all that can be destroyed by just one moment of anger. So think of that, how dangerous anger is, not to the other person, but to yourself, being angry. So usually we think that when we get angry, we become empowered, we become strong, we can defend ourselves. But in reality, having anger actually weakens us, makes us weak by by spoiling, by ruining our positive karma. So that is one important thing. So just to bring awareness to that. And actually the moment you know that you are angry, actually you're not that angry. You know that. So when you realize that you are angry, when you're really, really, really angry, you don't realize you are angry, for sure. You just get consumed by. So in English we say consumed by your anger, right? In Tibetan also we say kongdo sawa. Sawa means to consume or eat. So when you get consumed, but when you get really angry, you don't know you're angry. The moment you know you are angry, actually you are not at the peak of your anger. You have actually come down a little bit.
Yeah.
So at that time you can actually practice the breathing exercises. So this breathing exercise, breathing is a good exercise, or just storming out, like distancing yourself from the person who is making you angry. So if you have an argument with someone, just go to the other room, go out of the house, just distract yourself for a few moments, right? And then come back to instead of like tackle that situation right away, just go to the restroom, take yours, go to the restroom and do some breathing exercises, or just storm outside. So basically, or just flex your muscle. Basically, you need to distract yourself. Your muscles are all tensed up. So it's not just mental. There's some physical. When you get so angry, there's some physical manifestation too, right? When you get angry, we say bad things to others. We show negative. We show dark face to others. So there's a very strong physical thing too. So you have to loosen up yourself physically too. So you go to the restroom and do a breathing exercise, or just go out of the house to go some walk and this and that. And then after coming back, then after you cool down, then you can tackle the situation. Yeah. So yeah. So basically, the good thing about tackling anger is that when you realize that you are angry, you are actually not that angry anymore. Okay. So there's the next question is about when we practice patience, we have a lot of complications, afflictions arising, and how to deal with that. So first of all, the afflictions are already there, always there. The underlying current is always there. It just when we get angry, and then when we practice patience, we are putting more awareness into it. So when the awareness is like the light, so in a dark room you have lots of dirty things there, and when you put the light off, when you put the curtains off, it's dark and you don't see it. But when you practice patience, you bring awareness and you open the light. I mean, you open the curtain and the light comes, wherever the light shines, the problem also seems to rise. So it's like, yeah. So basically, the affliction doesn't come up because of the practicing patience. The afflictions are always there. When you practice patience, because in order to practice patience, we focus and we bring awareness. So the awareness, which is the light, which is like the light, it brings forth, it makes the afflictions visible for us. Okay. So in any case, the point is how to deal with that. So normally when we have the problem to practice patience is uh, you get really angry with someone, you get really triggered, this and that, and you don't know how to deal with your whether I should say something back. If I don't say something back, I've been wronged. They are criticizing me for no reason, and they're robbing me. They're doing this and that, that bad thing to me. If I don't do something back, then my situation is going to become worse. Or basically, there are so many reasons. So all these reasons start coming up, and most of the time, you feel humiliated. You feel basically, yeah, when someone criticizes you, you feel wronged and you feel like you want to take revenge. So many emotions going on. But the solution, the generic solution for all types of afflictions arising during such thing is to follow one line. There's one line from Master Shantideva's book, Bodhisattva Chayava, the way of the Bodhisattva. So he says, if there is something, if it is something that if it is something that you can solve, if the problem is solvable, then why are you worried? If the problem is solvable, why are you worried? If the problem is not solvable, then what's the point of worrying? So you can actually put this into patience too. If the um, afflictions that arises when you practice patience, if those problems are legitimate, valid, and solvable, then what's bothering you? If they are not so, if they're not solvable, they're not legitimate, you have to be very honest. Check whether it's legitimate, whether it's valid, and so on and so forth. If it's not so, it's not legitimate, if it's not valid, if it's not solvable, then what's the point in sulking about it? What's the point in going that way, right? So this practice will help you when you practice patience and you have afflictions, think like that. So the next question was by, okay, so it's okay. So as a very young child, how does he have to be patient with being scolded? What's the compassion for kids at the level of understanding? So there's another question similar to that one asked by another person who sent me a direct message. So basically, the question is how to deal with scolding, how to deal with, especially when you are scolded by your parents and this and that. How do you deal with that? So simply put, very simple answer is that when you are being scolded, it's either because you did something wrong or you did not do something wrong. Very simple. So if you do something wrong, you deserve to be scolded, and that's it. So if you have done something wrong, you have to be scolded, and that is something you deserve, but there is no question about it. If you did not do something wrong and you're still being scolded, so that is actually nothing wrong with you. It's wrong from the other side, whether it's your parent or your teacher, whoever. So in that respect, you don't have to feel bad about it because it doesn't stick with you because you have done nothing wrong. So it doesn't stick with you. It sticks. If someone hurls something wrong at you, whatever wrong it is, it belongs, it goes back to the person who hurls at you. So there was an example by Buddha's teaching during Buddha's time, but I will just make it very short. So if you so basically the story, the sum of the sum of the story is that if you give something to someone and that person doesn't take it, then who does this thing belong to? It belongs to you, right? If I give money to someone and they don't take it, it belongs to me, right? So if you are wrong, you deserve to be scolded. If you're not wrong, you don't deserve to be scolded. So the scolding does not stick with you. It goes back to the person who is scolding you. So that is, if in which case you don't have to feel bad. This is they scolded you for wrong reason. They are mistaken. They are at the wrong, and maybe at a later time when everything is cooled down, you can explain to the person that the scolding that you were being given is wrong. If you have done wrong, you deserve to be scolded. So there's no way out of that. Yeah. So the next question is a little bit complicated for me to understand, but I will just read it out in English. I would like to Rinpoche, if someone harming to me, but action make me to go to prison, who blame bad everything to me. At that time, I'm not angry. Whatever do I should the truth evidence to show that for me not to have to go to prison. Thanks. So, okay, my understanding is that if someone is harming you and that someone harm you and that action of harming makes you or maybe the other person who is harming you go to prison, but at the same time, you don't want that person to go to the prison, and you take all the blame for that person or something, but you're not angry with that. And basically your question is, whatever do I should the truth evidence to show that for me not to have to go to prison? Okay, so if someone do really bad thing, I mean, it's a small bad thing, it's okay, but really, really, very, really bad thing, I think you should not like hold it back. It should be reported, or it should be, no matter how close the person you are, you should actually report it. If it's really a serious one. If it's a small thing, then actually, if it's a friend of yours, you can actually talk to each other, or you don't have to hold it like that much. I don't know how you can avoid going to prison. If you or someone has done very bad thing, or if you have done someone very bad thing, I don't have the solution how to avoid going to the prison. Yeah. So the next question is similar to the one asked before this one. Basically, I already kind of like covered it. So it's a direct question to me. It's not revealed to everyone. So it's about a young boy, a young audience who was being yelled at by their parents, and then they are having difficulty overcoming the feeling that they have with their father.
Bây giờ thầy có một
So
câu hỏi tiếp theo. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, so from the way the question was put, my understanding is that the boy, I believe, wants to reconciliation with his father, right? So in order to do that, the best way to reconcile is to think from the person whom you want to reconcile with. Think from that person's perspective. So put yourself in the person's shoe. What you may have done nothing wrong, or you may have done something wrong, right? But the person yelling at you, whatever situation that have arisen, so it doesn't come up just like that, because yelling is actually an explosion. You cannot explode with nothing. In order to explode, there has to be so many build-up. So what are these build-ups? It is something to do with you, and just because there's an explosion does not mean that you are wrong, right? So if you if you go out when it's raining, you're going to be drenched, right? It's not the rain's fault, or it's not your fault either, because the clouds are filled with water and it just rains out, it pours out. So your father may have built up a lot of emotions, either from you or from your mother or from this or that, from many other side, and you don't know where these But it just so happened that when you have an encounter with your father, he exploded and he yelled at you. So it's not just one incident that made him explode, because yelling is an explosion. So in order to explode, there needed to be a lot of build-up. So if you want to go further, you can find out what that build-up is, what your father is going through, this and that. And that will actually make you easy to, if you understand the situation where he is coming from, where the anger, where the explosion, where the yelling of your father is coming from, then you can understand your father better and you can reconcile much more effectively. So the last question is how to train or practice our mind to be as soft as a cotton wool naturally while we are evolving into being wrong situation. So this is the thing. When you have been wronged, when you have been criticizing wrongly, this and that, what happens? You suffer, right? You're not happy, you're unhappy, you're suffering. And suffering is karmic repercussion. Suffering comes from karma. And suffering comes from not positive karma. It comes from bad karma, negative karma. So what happens is when you go through suffering, such as being wronged unjustly, your negative karma is coming into production. Your negative karmas are being materialized. So basically, your negative karmas are being used. So if you let it be, your negative karma will be exhausted by itself. So if you remember what I just said in the beginning, by practicing patience, you will exhaust your negative karma. So when you have been wronged, you are exhausting your negative karma, and so actually you can find peace of mind. You can train yourself to find peace of mind when you are being wronged in thinking that I'm being wronged, and that is actually my negative karma materializing. And by not acting on it, my negative karma will actually be eliminated. It will be exhausted out. But of course, you still, if you have been, let's say, like you have been someone gives you someone what do you call it? Someone gives you a bad name, bad like write something bad about you online or do something negative. You still have to respond, but you don't have to respond with anger. Okay, if you want to clear your name, of course, clearing your name is very important, especially if you have a career, if you have a business, you need to clear your name. But you can clear your name with a clear mind. No need to be like fuzzy over this. Whatever negative that person has done to you will actually help to exhaust your negative karma. And with a clear mind, with a clear conscience, with a clear mind, you can actually respond more effectively on how to clear your name like that. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in and also for asking questions, all of you. So by asking your questions, you make the teaching more relevant and more clear for everyone else. So really appreciate all of you. And now we go to the dedication. Ningbo Zembe Benga Xin Nama Do Yu Gun La Chang Chu Lop Sang Che Ye Jam Ze Cho Gen Jenge Zhe Jen Nambara Se Wa De. Can you do the dedication in Vietnamese, please?
Thank you very much, Rinpoche La. Thank you very much, and we
Thank
look
you
forward to
very
see you
much,
next week.
Rinpoche La. Thank you.
Cảm ơn tất cả các
Thank
quý
you,
vị
Hello,
và
Rinpoche.
sự
thank you
hiện
so
hữu
much.
cho tất
Thank
cả
you,
quý vị đạo
Rinpoche.
hữu.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Andrew.
Thank you,
Bye
everyone.
Thank you,
bye.
Rinpoche La.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Rinpoche.